Let's do it this way.
There's a film by Chaplin, The Great Dictator, when the microphone goes in and out.
We can try this one.
Okay. Dear Yuval, colleagues, friends, and guests, former students of Yuval, good morning to all. It is really an honor and privilege to welcome all of you to Tel Aviv University to this Yuval Fest Symposium, in which we honor and pay tribute to Professor Yuval Neeman, one of the most credited, respected, and admired scientists that this country has produced. We are celebrating Yuval's 80th birthday. We would like to take this opportunity to recall Yuval's most important achievements as scientist, science administrator, and science policymaker. We would like to take this opportunity to say to Yuval, thank you for all you have done in those areas. Yuval is, of course, not your average physicist, one of the crowd. During his long, outstanding, and productive career, he made a distinctive name for himself as a scientist, internationally renowned and acclaimed for his scientific achievements, starting with the Eightfold Way. Locally, in Israel, he introduced high-energy physics, elementary particle physics into Israel, and raised a group of most talented students who made this country, until these very days, a worldwide strong center in particle physics. Yuval also excelled in the science public arena. He served on Israel's Atomic Energy Commission and chaired it. He founded the Israel Space Agency and chaired it. He was Israel's chief defense scientist and served as president of Israel's Bureau of Standards. He chaired the steering committee to the Med-Dead Sea Conduit project. He was Israel's first Minister of Science and Development. As a matter of fact, this ministry was established in 1982 to find a suitable ministerial post for Yuval. Yuval also served as Minister of Energy. Yuval was among the first to establish connections with a Russian refusnik scientist, organizing a joint, half-clandestine seminar, lecturing through phone, organizing an international conference in a private Moscow apartment. As Minister of Science, he contributed toward the successful absorption of new scientist immigrants. Even more locally, at Tel Aviv University, we owe to Yuval a lot. He was the founder and the head of the department, then School of Physics. Later, he founded the School of Engineering, which developed into the Faculty of Engineering. He served a term of 4 years as president of Tel Aviv University. During all the years he served as a public figure, the years he went into politics, he managed to stay in touch with the recent developments in particle physics. When he was a member of the parliament, a minister, he used to summon students to his office and discuss physics. He would find time to come to the department, ask questions to find out what's going on. I was very much impressed at the time by his ability to do it, by the ease at which he could grasp new things while he still serves as member of Knesset, as minister. Today, as I finish my term as director of Tel Aviv University, I'm impressed even more, and even I envy you, Yuval, about this ability of yours. Yuval Neeman is a real Renaissance man. All of us who knew him, who know him, as a matter of fact, anyone who spends a short time with him will immediately be taken by his wide range of knowledge in science, history, linguistics, literature, by his compelling intellect. It is a real pleasure to listen to Yuval talking on these issues, telling stories, anecdotes. To paraphrase a well-known saying, if he didn't exist, one would have to invent him. I would like to conclude with a children's poem. Some of you may have heard it before, recited by me, but I couldn't resist, Yuval, to recite this poem also especially for you. It's a poem by Dr. Seuss, and it goes like this. You have brain in your head, you have shoes in your you have brain in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer your direction any way which you choose. You are on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go. So relax and smile. Life is just to begin. You're in pretty good shape for the shape you are in. Yuval, we wish you many more years of fruitful and satisfactory work in good health. We love you a lot. Thank you. Okay. Where is Aaron? Aaron, I think that we have some greetings, right, from people from outside, which I should read. So let me start with, okay, I'll start with an email that we received from Leo Lederman. This is about a legendary theoretical physicist, Yuval Neeman. I invested a major fraction of a rare sabbatical to meet and study with Yuval in London so many years ago. All I found was salam, not too bad, but with a wrong accent. With Yuval, we had humor and optimism and a profound contribution to our worldview. So all right, he gets to be 80. What is the big deal? Almost anyone, almost all my friends and colleagues get to be 80. By this note, I wish Yuval a wonderful party and demand that to date, theoretical physics is a mess and needs Yuval's imagination, chutzpah, and the pleasure of his next 20 years. And now we have some video. On the video, we have greetings from Steve Weinberg, David Gross, and T.D. Lee, not necessarily in this order. Until we have the video, I mean, what Leo Lederman wrote reminds me of a Jewish saying that it's not good to get old, but it's the only way to survive.
Is it possible my computer? No, my computer. No, because this looks like my screen.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Shalom, Yuval. I'm sorry that I'm not able to be there in person at your birthday party, but my friend here and I would like to congratulate you on arriving at the age of 80. All best wishes and happy birthday. I've always had enormous admiration for you and for your contributions. We might have had our political differences, but in physics, I've always had the highest admiration for your contributions and also for your contributions to Israeli physics. You're the one who really brought to the flourishing of fundamental physics and particle physics to Israel. And on a more personal note, you're one of the founders of the Jerusalem Winter School, which I now direct. And it's turned out to be a wonderful idea, a great institution. This December, we're holding another winter school, and we hope to have a special day to recognize your contributions to it. Until then, however, I just wish you the best of luck and another 40 years at least. Mazal tov.
My deep friendship with Yuval Neeman dates back some 48 years ago. In 1957, when Yuval returned to science after a great victory in war. 4 years later, Yuval shook the scientific world with his 1961 paper, in which he proposed the SU3 octet structure of Hadron, followed by an independent 1962 paper on the same subject by Marie Curie. Before 1961, the world of particle physics was chaotic. There were too many resonances. After 1961, with the papers of Neeman and Curie, clarity came to our discipline, for which we, the practitioners of the field, are forever grateful. It gives me very great pleasure to send my warmest regards to my old friend, Yuval Neeman, on his 80th birthday celebration. I'm also looking forward to celebrating his next one, Yuval's 100th birthday celebration.
When physicists start their careers, they generally have to resign themselves to going into something like an ivory tower. Their work is esoteric. Most people don't know much about it. They're cut off from the large world of public affairs. Well, Yuval Neeman is an exception to a lot of rules, and he's certainly an exception to this rule. My goodness, he was a military intelligence officer. He was a member of the Knesset, the president of a great university. That's some ivory tower. And along the way, Yuval found time to make one of the great discoveries in 20th century physics. That is, he discovered the SU3 symmetry of the strong interactions, which made sense out of the enormous zoo of elementary particles that were being discovered in the late 50s and early 1960s. I don't think people today realize how difficult that kind of thing was at the time. You see, the generation of physicists who were in their prime in the late 50s and early 60s really didn't know very much about groups. On one hand, if you read a book like Wigner's Gruppentheory, you got the impression that the only groups that were important in nature, perhaps the only kind of symmetry groups that could exist, were finite groups, like permutation groups, together with rotation groups in various numbers of dimensions and the Lorentz group. On the other hand, if you hadn't read Wigner's Gruppentheory, you might get the feeling that any conceivable symmetry group was a possibility, that the possibilities were too many to ever be cataloged. In fact, that isn't true. As everyone knows today, there's a well-defined list of possible continuous Lie groups. And Yuval knew about this, and he furthermore had the good physical sense to see that one of them, the group SU3, was the key to making sense out of the, as I said, the zoo of elementary particles, how everything fell together if you imposed an SU3 symmetry on the strong interactions. Well, of course, we've all learned this lesson, but I think this work on the SU3 symmetry of the strong interactions was the turning point. It was what helped us all come of age in understanding what group theory is good for in physics. And Yuval went on and made many other very clever applications of group theory. The world of physics certainly owes Yuval a great debt. And Tel Aviv University owes him a great debt, and the state of Israel does. And on a more personal note, my wife Louise and I owe Yuval and Devorah Neeman a great debt because they're friendship over the years has been precious to us. We've enjoyed so much the time that we spent together. I remember in particular Yuval was so helpful to us when we started the Jerusalem Winter Schools of Theoretical Physics in the early 1980s. We miss Yuval here in Austin, Texas. Yuval, you all come back and see us, you hear? And I look forward very much to the time that, I hope it won't be too far in the future, when I and my wife will have a chance to see Yuval and Devorah again. And in the meantime, I want to say, happy birthday, Yuval, and Mazel Tov.
To the lectures of this Yuval Fest symposium. The first talk would be by Professor Gabriele Veneziano. I think that Gabriele need no introduction any place, and certainly in this country. He is a colleague and a friend. Actually, Gabriele did his PhD studies here in Israel. Then he went to MIT, returned to Israel, and I think that that's the first time that I met you, Gabriele. I was doing my PhD at the time at the Weizmann Institute. Then, I don't know how, but you decided to leave the Weizmann Institute for some remote place like CERN. Well, people do make mistakes, but you did it. But you have retained all the time very, very close connection with the community of high-energy physicists here in Israel. Gabriele will talk on string theory as a possible realization of Einstein's dream. We, of course, know that the string theory of today have really started, in some sense, many, many years ago, but by what was called at the time the Veneziano model. So as an introduction, Gabriele, to your talk, and in the spirit of reciting children's poems, here is one by A.A. Milne, the author of Winnie the Pooh, and it goes as follows. Oh, what I can invent, all the things which I make, from a string, sort of thing, which works, so I hope. All stick so quick that it feels like a thing that you make with a string. All things are so great, but it hasn't worked yet. Gabriele, please.